Okay, we're going to do a full installation walkthrough for Ubuntu 14.04 and the newest version of OpenCATS, which is 0.9.3-3, labeled Inferno. I'm going to follow the Ubuntu 14.04 installation documentation verbatim. Hopefully it's correct and there should be no issues. I have a VirtualBox brand new installation of Ubuntu that I'm going to be working from. There's nothing on here at all. Haven't even done the initial system updates yet. Now, for the less technical people, Ubuntu and Ubuntu are basically the same thing, though it's got a different desktop environment, which means it looks different. So I'm going to add a few things to the desktop just for quick and easy access. We're going to be using the terminal and Firefox. For the more technical people, I am not that technical. I like my installation walkthroughs and documentation to be dumbed down as much as possible. So that is my target audience. If you're technical and you know all this stuff, it's going to be very slow for you. Alright, so first system update, which you will likely not have to do. In the browser, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the OpenCATS documentation. Simple Google search should bring it up at the top result. Now, there's a lot of old documentation laying around the internet. We are looking for opencats-documentation.readthedocs.io. I will include that in the notes on this video. Specifically, we're following the Ubuntu 14.04 instructions. And again, hopefully this will work verbatim with no adjustments whatsoever. Though we'll find out. Alright, so first thing, obviously, update your system. We just did that. First thing we're going to do, we're going to install LAMP software, which is a software that pushes software out to the web and makes it accessible over the internet. It is required for OpenCATS whether you're using it on a local machine and it's not web accessible or not. Either way, you need a LAMP stack installed or WAMP on Windows, but that's not what we're doing. So I am copying and pasting commands. Installing MariaDB, which is essentially the same thing as MySQL. Either is fine. For the password, for the sake of this, I'm using MariaDB password as the password. Next, we're going to do the secure installation command, which is just some light MySQL security. Current password We just did that. It's MariaDB password. You should probably pick something different. Do I want to change root password? No, I do not, because we just set it. Remove anonymous users? Yes. Disallow root login remotely? Yes. Remove test database and access to it? Yes. Reload privilege tables now? Yes. Done. So on the right, we are moving on. Installing Apache. Copy, paste the command. If you are working on a VPS without a graphical environment, you'll want to have a separate screen or these instructions printed, and you'll have to manually type everything. Apache is installed. Now we're going to check and make sure that Apache is running. So new tab in Firefox, I'm going to type in localhost. And we see our Apache default page. That's good. So that's the same thing we've got here. So far so good. Got to change this. Okay, this little error right here will be corrected. So that should not be there when you're looking at the documentation and watching this video. Okay, Apache is set up. We're putting on PHP 5. Now I will stress that the versions of software are different between Ubuntu 16 and Ubuntu 14. The default in Ubuntu 14 is PHP 5.5, and the default in Ubuntu 16 is PHP 7. OpenCATS will not work with PHP 7. You have to downgrade. That's a separate process, which I will go into in the Ubuntu 16 installation documentation and tutorial. So for now, we're good. The default is fine. Let's install PHP 5. And restart Apache. I don't think this is necessary, but I have a habit of restarting far too much. Now we're going to create a info.php file so that we can see some PHP information in the browser. I'm doing that with Nano. If you want to use V, use it. This is Nano and Nano instructions. Alright. Now I'm going to take the PHP information listed and paste it into the file. I'm going to hit Control O and Enter to save it. Control X to leave. And I'm going to restart Apache again. Now the info.php should be there. So in the browser again, we're going to localhost /info.php, and we should see some good information. PHP version 5.5.9 and all of our stuff. Now we are missing some PHP extensions, which we need to install next. Those are listed out right here. So again, I'm going to copy and paste and install the extensions. If you're manually typing, please note 3 of the 4 of these extensions have PHP 5 in the name, but SOAP has PHP without the 5. So if you put the 5 in, it won't work right. Though I don't think SOAP is really necessary anymore. But I like to put it on because I like green when I install. Restart the Apache web server. Now we're going to refresh our info.php in the browser and we should see those extensions. So we're looking for GD, we're looking for MySQL, we're looking for SOAP, we're looking for LDAP. GD, right there, good. LDAP, right there. MySQL, and SOAP. So we're good. Moving on. We have to set up the MariaDB MySQL database. Now this is actually the database that holds all the OpenCATS information. So while we have a nice pretty front end that we look at and interact with, all of the work and functions actually happen within our MySQL database. Okay, so another thing to note, we've got different passwords. We're going to be using the MySQL or MariaDB root password is not necessarily the same as the database password, and that's not necessarily the same as your OpenCATS password. So make sure you're writing these down, make sure you're specifying which one is which. If you're not technical, it can get a little confusing. So we're going to use MySQL commands, even though we installed MariaDB. It's essentially the same, the commands are the same. And now I'm entering in MariaDB password, which is the one I set up when I set up MariaDB. That is my root password for MariaDB. Now I have to create a user, I have to create a database, and I have to give the user privileges on that database so that information can be added and changed, etc. So a few things to note for entering commands into MySQL. You have to put the semicolon on the end of every statement. It will not work if you don't put the semicolon on the end of every statement. Plus, I tend to like to check for the apostrophes because they're easy to gloss over and forget. So double check and make sure these commands are correct, or it may not work. I'm going to create user OpenCATS, all lowercase, it doesn't matter. It's just the way I'm doing it. Now this is going to be a different password. This is a database password, not the MySQL password. So I'm going to say database password. No. Yes, database password. With my semicolon, my apostrophes are correct. This is good. Now, as far as I understand, it doesn't matter whether you have all caps for the MySQL statements. The instructions show all caps. You can do it either way. Just make sure you do it correct. Again, I'm double checking my apostrophes and my semicolon looks good. And that's it for this. Exit with the semicolon. The database is there. Continuing on. Time to download the OpenCATS files. We're going to change directory into the web directory, which is /var/www/html. I like to do ls just to see what's in there. This is our Apache index file, the first Apache screen we looked at. This is our info.php file that we created. Now we're going to download the OpenCATS file into this directory. Pasting sudo wget and the address, and it starts downloading. Done. ls to list, and we'll see it is now sitting in the directory. So we're going to, that is compressed, we're going to uncompress it with this command. And there it is, ls again. Now we have the original downloaded file. We also have the OpenCATS directory. So we're going to go into that. cd means change directory. And ls, let's look at it. Great. Here we are. These are all the OpenCATS files. So let's move on. We have to do server and directory permissions now. So we're going to cd space ... to back up one directory. Now we're in the main web directory again, and we see our OpenCATS folder right here. And then we'll just copy and paste the ownership and permissions commands that we need. Now please, I've said this repeatedly in the documentation, if you name the directory something else, all of these commands need to reflect the exact name of your OpenCATS directory, including the capitalization of letters. If it's incorrect, it won't work. So we're going to run through these, and then we'll move on. Good. Alright, now we're going to install the resume indexing tools. It's all laid out specifically for Ubuntu. Again, all we have to do is copy, paste, hit enter, and they are installing. Good. So we're done in the terminal. Now we can go to the browser, new tab, localhost, /OpenCATS. It has to be exactly like the directory name. I think that's correct, and there we go. So it's sort of the first install screen. It refers us to a different one. So we click this link. Alright, all green. Green is good. That means the PHP is correct. That means the folder permissions are correct. So we can click next to proceed. If you have yellow here, there's an issue with the PHP extensions. Yellow means you can proceed. You may lose some functionality depending on the PHP extensions that are giving you problems. If you have red here, then that means there's an issue, you cannot proceed. It means your directory permissions are not correct. It means there's some sort of overall issue. So yellow, okay. Red, you have to stop and fix something. We're going to proceed. Now, this is all the information we entered when we created the MariaDB MySQL database. So for the database name, we did OpenCATS. For the database user, we did OpenCATS. For the database password, I believe I did database password. Localhost will be localhost unless you are doing shared hosting, which this is the wrong walkthrough, or if you're doing a VPS, you may have to enter the VPS IP address. Generally, it's going to be localhost. Test database connectivity. I always get red once or twice, so click 2, 3, 4 times, see if it goes green. If it does, you can proceed. If it stays red, either this information is incorrect or you have set something up wrong. But this all needs to be exactly right for it to work. But green means good, we're going. In this instance, we're going to do a new installation. Demonstration, in my opinion, is sort of worthless. It populates it with just fake information so you can see what a populated OpenCATS system looks like. If you're going to do a non-technical backup and restore, this is where you would do that, but I will do documentation and a video on backing up and restoring later. So for now, we click New Installation and Next. Now these are the resume indexing tools, and these are the paths to the location on our system. Now these paths are incorrect, so we have to change this to /usr/bin/ and that has to be like that on all of these. I'm just copying and pasting. Now I'll get red a couple times again. Red, 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 red. Now hold on. Green. Alright. So green means good. If you do a few clicks and it doesn't go green, there may be an issue. You may need to make sure you didn't skip this step installing these programs. But if you're running Ubuntu 14.04, there should be no variables. It should work. Email, I'm not going to go into in this tutorial. I'll set up a different one later. So for now, I'm going to disable the mail support and click Next. Make sure you set your time zone. You can have some funky things happen if you don't. I've done it wrong before, and I was confused why some of my notes were entered at 1 in the morning because I had the wrong time zone left. So I am currently in Eastern Time, US, and I'm in the US, so I'm going to select the US date. I am not going to mess with the zip codes. If you want to install it, that's okay, just click install, but I am not going to. And that is pretty much it. Alright, everything is good. The awesome OpenCATS developers were kind enough to include the default login and password. So it's admin, admin. We'll click Start OpenCATS. We'll get the nice, beautiful login screen. Admin, admin, enter, and voila. We have a awesome empty applicant tracking system just waiting for you to do whatever you're going to do with it. Now I'm going to go ahead. We should change the password right off the bat. So for that, we're going to click Settings. We're going to click Administration. And we're going to go into My Profile right here. Change password. Current password is admin. New password. Whatever, it doesn't matter. New password. New password. Change password. Now when you are automatically logged out, that's what you're going to need to do. So now it is admin, new password, Boom, we're back in. That is the end of this tutorial. Thanks.